You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome. Today we're sorting through a whole stack of insights, strategic thinking, tricky tech problems, basically everything you need to get ahead in data. Think of this as your shortcut to getting clued in, maybe with a few surprises along the way.
Exactly. It's about cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
Understanding what's happening, sure, but more importantly, why it matters. We're connecting the dots for you.
Okay, let's jump right in. First scenario. You're the very first data hire. Our sources, they paint a picture of, well, chaos, competing demands, crazy expectations.
Like build Rome in a day, but with data.
Right. So how do you actually survive that? What's the surprising advice?
Well, the key isn't aiming for that perfect tech stack immediately. It's actually more about diplomacy. The advice is focus on stakeholder discovery first. Figure out what people really need. Then build a simple way to prioritize.
Simple, not complex. Okay.
Yeah, and focus like a laser on delivering actionable insights, stuff the business can use now. Early wins matter way more than getting stuck on some perfect, elegant architecture that takes months.
And avoid the dreaded dashboard sprawl. I saw that mentioned.
Oh, absolutely. Impact over sheer volume of charts, definitely.
It's interesting how that connects to the bigger picture. Looking ahead to, say, 2026, the advice for data leaders is to double down on core data management. Master data, governance, the unsexy stuff, even with AI like ChatGPT-5 coming fast.
Right, because that foundational strength is what lets you handle things like agentic re-engineering.
Where AI agents start automating more complex data tasks.
Exactly. You need that solid base.
Okay, so foundation first.
Right.
Then, what about the data itself? Especially all that messy, unstructured data, Gen AI just makes more of it, right?
That's where something like the Medallion Architecture comes in. It's quite elegant, actually, for handling this.
How does that work for unstructured stuff?
Well, think layers. Bronze is just raw extraction. Get it in, organize it slightly. Silver is where the magic happens for AI. You refine it into semantically meaningful units, basically structured pieces AI can understand.
Making sense out of chaos.
Precisely. And then gold tailors it for specific uses, maybe even offered through a data marketplace, for those AI insights.
That's a neat way to structure it, but how does this become, well, profitable? How do you get to business value?
That's the next step. Evolving from just architecture to creating actual monetized data products.
Yeah.
There are standards emerging, like Open Data Product Specification, ODPS 4.0.
ODPS 4.0, what does that add?
It bridges the technical to the commercial. It adds reusable components for things you need in a real product. SLAs, quality checks, access rules, even payment details.
So you're turning a pipeline into something governed, sellable.
Exactly, a real asset.
Okay, but even with fancy architectures and standards, the underlying tech, the plumbing, it can still bite you, right? I saw some chatter about Iceberg. Great idea, apparently, but maybe the wrong spec. What's that about?
Yeah, that's a fascinating technical deep dive. The core issue, the sources say, is how Iceberg manages table snapshots. It uses a single central file, metadata.json, for each snapshot. And here's the kicker. It has to be completely rewritten every single time you commit data.
Oh, wow. That sounds inefficient.
It really is, especially under pressure. It forces ON, writes performance gets worse the bigger it gets, leads to what they called explosive metadata bloat. The millions of little files potentially created daily. And it slows down reads, too, with all these sequential checks.
Yeah.
Basically, it pushes complexity onto the client.
So a scaling nightmare waiting to happen. A hidden cost.
Pretty much. A potential performance cliff.
And speaking of tech nightmares,
Wait.
What about that PostgreSQL story?
Yeah.
Where sigterm, the command to stop a process, just doesn't work?
Isn't that wild? How can a query just ignore the stop command?
Seriously, what was going on there?
So the folks at ClickPipes dug into this. They found a specific bug in PostgreSQL related to logical replication slots on read replicas. Creating these slots could apparently make queries completely unkillable. Imagine critical processes just stuck running forever.
Yikes. Did they fix it?
They did. And importantly, they worked with the community. It ended up being a one-line fix, believe it or not. But it really highlights, the need to understand things like replication slots properly to avoid other problems like wall bloat, where transaction logs just grow out of control, another operational headache.
So, wrapping this up then, we've gone from the chaos of being the first data hire through structuring data for AI to these really specific kind of gnarly tech issues. What's the common thread for you, the listener?
I think it's that constant evolution. You need the high-level strategy, the stakeholder management, the product thinking, but you also need that deep technical understanding right down to how metadata files are written, or how replication works.
It's the full stack, from people to packets.
Absolutely. Surviving and actually thriving isn't just about grabbing data. It's managing the flow, understanding the weird quirks, and turning it all into real measurable value.
Okay, here's a final thought to leave you with. We mentioned AI and agent-centric processes speeding up. So how might your role change fundamentally shift when a lot more of that data grunt work becomes, well, semi-autonomous? Something to think about.
Spoken Tech for your ears.